I did say there was a chance we'll be back tonight. And it appears, for now at least, we are back. The Oracle of Wrestling has returned. The big man is back. This is part 2, I guess, of Deciding the Decade WrestleMania, where we left off, I should say, we were talking about WrestleMania 18, and then Oracle, Bob and I threw out some other matches from the decade that came to mind. With that in mind, the Oracle of Wrestling, while we have you, what other matches do you like to shout out from the 2000s, mate?
I just want to quickly talk about. So 18, I was definitely all about Flair and Taker. Someone said in the chat while I was malfunctioning horribly that Arn Spinebuster was amazing. Rock and Hogan was weird for me because I was mesmerized by it, but it didn't hit me as hard as it did for the older fans, right? Which makes sense. 20 was a great show, loaded show. I remember it going so long when I was a kid, and I was totally into the triple threat. I won't lie. Of course, it's all been destroyed, but it was a special, very memorable match. But obviously it was ruined. But I brought it up in a recent show of ours. But that Rock and Sock tag is really good.
Yes,
I was so bummed and fully lost at the time, but in retrospect, it's a really good match. 22, I watched that show in Charles, Carolina on my spring break trip. I was on a condominium on the beach, Folly Beach, South Carolina. We actually went to my brother Dylan's house, which was in over towards more inland. But I remember that was a special show because we got to watch
This is a special show, folks. This is a special show. Oracle looking at us as he realized what was happening is an incredible visual. Incredible visual.
This is normal. The regular thing.
Yes.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay, I'm back now, right? Okay.
Yes.
So we watched the show. It was a special show because we got to watch it with him in his house, and he had the famous black box that that he and his best friend have been using for since the early and mid 90s. And so he got to see all the Monday Night War pay-per-views on that damn thing. Edge and Foley, I was super excited for. It's a great match. Not as good as the Orton feud, obviously, but it was still cool. Flair taking his superplex off the ladder was incredibly funny.
Yes.
And he's like, "Oh god, oh god!" He comes back
of course.
out. Cena and Triple H is good, but the build of that match is totally ridiculous. And 23, I honestly think people are gonna. I kind of think it's arguably a top 5 Mania. People look when Trump became president, that turned a lot of that. I think that show fucking rules, man. Taker and Batista is a classic in my opinion. That match is incredible.
It's a great match, yeah.
Cena and Shawn's pretty underrated in my opinion. Battle of Billionaires is an absolute blast. The chair getting its own theme music and amazing. One of my favorite little kind of forgotten Mania moments. Match is good too. And of course the post match is legendary. Let's see. Is there any others we didn't? I think that's all of them, right?
So,
we can jump into the matches, yeah. And again, folks, I'll probably we're going to try to wrap it up in the next 45 minutes, I think. But we just wanted to finish this thing tonight. I appreciate everybody being patient with me.
Before we do rank any singular matches that have not been brought, I think we've covered them all, right? I think. I shout out Christian and Jericho on your behalf.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's a great match. The turn was a big deal at the time too, or at least I remember being oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it was effective. Okay, let's put a bow on the decade at last. A little bit later than we expected to, but let's do it nonetheless. This decade has 6 of the top 10 WrestleManias of all time, according to Cage Match. So, again, in fear of giving away spoilers, I think we know what's going to, this is clearly the leading decade of WrestleMania. In terms of match of the decade, this is a really interesting one. I know, Bob, you said you have many candidates. So let's see what Bob's leading What's your immediate answer when I say the best WrestleMania match of the 2000s, Bob?
Immediately I go to Kurt and Sean, which I know I will probably be alone on.
Not necessarily.
No, fair.
Not necessarily. This is hard. Oracle, which way do you lean instinctively? This is tough.
Taker Sean, probably.
Yeah.
But I mean Austin Rock. Kurt Sean is definitely up there, no question.
I think I'm leaning Sean and Taker too.
Yeah, Austin Rock, even though with the finish, is up there too.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Again,
I mean Austin Rock too. Sorry, at 17.
And again, it's what I mean. I said I prefer the rematch with Sean and Taker, but I still think the first one might be the match of the decade. Kurt and Sean and that are really close for me. I'm voting Taker and Sean. Oracle, that's your vote too?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
Okay, so I think this is Sean's decade, right? He's Mr. WrestleMania here, isn't he?
Yeah.
It feels like it. Bobby,
I mean,
look at the hesitation on Bob's face.
Kurt should get a nod because he really did he had a good match with Benoit 17.
Yeah.
The Kane match was not bad, but I mean, like, come on. I mean, like, that was like,
I think Sean beats
great. Eddie match is very good, although a lot of people liked the finish at the time. I liked it, but I think there's a lot of fair criticism of that finish.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie got. I mean, everybody was happy that Eddie won the belt on No Way Out, but like now he goes to Mania and wins on a fluke. Like it was just he never got that solid win that he kind of earned throughout his career. To actually like, I mean, I know it was his gimmick. Partly it was just a gimmick, but like, Shawn match was great. Obviously, the triple threat's really good. They just got cut for time. I think Shawn went too long or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and the triple threat was supposed to be like 15 minutes and only went 9, but it's really good. Of course, Ray wins the title there. Yeah, Shawn's probably going to win this. The Vince match is like ludicrous, but it's entertaining. It's not even good. It's kind of bad, but like it's entertaining, But yeah.
Who was you thinking, Bob? You look very unsure when I said.
I was just thinking about the Undertaker matches we didn't talk about, but I don't think they passed Sean's
Taker and Orton
complete
is
body of work.
I do like it.
Hold
the
on,
Mark Henry match is good.
Are you doing a pro Undertaker bit here?
I am.
After your
well, because his WrestleMania matches were usually pretty good.
In the most polite way possible. Is this really the hour for you to be doing this kind of pivot, Bobby? Really? I mean, seriously, I mean, is this really the time for Bob to decide he likes The Undertaker after all? We argued with you a week ago the other way around. Is this the time? But nonetheless, Shawn Michaels, yeah? We all concluded? Okay.
Yeah, Shawn's winning it. That's very fair and reasonable pick there.
Let's move to the turbulent times of the 2010s. Here we go. The top 3 WrestleManias of the 2010s. The top WrestleMania of the decade comes in third all time on Cage Match. It is WrestleMania 30. A memorable opening, to say the least. A great opening match to go with it with Bryan. It's Bryan's big night, the way that 10 was Bret's big night. He goes 2 for 2, though, to his credit, with a triple threat also. Cena and Wyatt actually have a pretty good one on that show, even though the finish is hilarious. But, didn't age that badly, I guess. Undertaker's streak gets broken. We'll not comment on the match. And the Andre is awesome. It's the first Andre, right?
Mm-hmm.
WrestleMania 30. Bobby, are you surprised to see it in the 3 seed all time?
No, not at all. I think it's just a 6 or 7 matches. And really the big story, obviously, is Bryan, and then the Undertaker thing obviously ends up playing a part as well. But yeah, just kind of a perfect WrestleMania as far as like one night, get all the stuff you need to get in there, do the Andre to get some more people on the card. I think they did like a women's gauntlet or whatever. Was that the Vicky Guerrero? Yeah.
Oh,
So
that doesn't sound good.
no, it's just AJ beating everybody.
Okay.
So it's like, good way to get people on the card. I actually think the Shield against the New Age Outlaws and Kane is a blast as well, even though it's only 3 minutes or whatever. Yeah, no, I'm not surprised.
Oracle, what about you? How do you feel about this? WrestleMania 30, where does it stand for you, mate?
Oh yeah, all-time great Mania. First one on the network. I'll never forget they did like they did like the three. They did like a 4-hour panel every day and watched the whole all that shit. This is sad, but like it's always the one I remember. They did one. They had Flair on there one day, and God bless him. I know he's a piece of shit, but like this I'll have sympathy for. Reed gets brought up, and the poor guy is sobbing about it for 15 minutes on this panel, and it's like Renee's trying to help put it together. It's just like I hate to have that memory, but it's just like it's so uncomfortable and sad, and it's like, but other than that, very sad memory of that. I remember the awesome video packages they kept playing throughout the weekend, like that awesome Brian video package. That package was incredible.
Yeah.
I'm only a man, whatever it was, the monster one.
Monster one, yeah.
It's one of the best ones they've ever done. The Mania, of course, is all time great. Bookended with the Brian stuff and the opening segment with Hogan, Rock, and Austin, the three biggest stars in the whole company, coming out there and Hogan doing the I still kind of I've always wondered, did he work that botch into his promo, or did he just was that like a
I'm not sure about that. No.
So, either way, it's funny. But the silver no. But he was like, what? That segment was a blast. God almighty. Sorry, Bobby, but Taker should have gone 20-0, and I liked the Punk match the year before, but that streak should have never been broken. I'm not even like gonna like, but it's more like God, the match was so terrible. Like,
well, he got pretty messed up.
Yeah,
early on.
He did.
That was when he was training for every WrestleMania match, like he was going to fight Marvin Hagler, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Show up to Mania like, man, why do I feel so beat up? I don't know, man. Maybe you should form up training camp, like you were fucking.
The Real Americans break up, and then Cesaro winning the Battle Royal was awesome.
That's great. Yeah, that's a real throwback Mania moment. That is, you know.
Yeah, it was very much like it reminded me of like nowhere near the same type, but like it reminded me of like Sherry helping DiBiase at WrestleMania 7.
Yeah.
Or like, they're involved in this one thing and then they do another thing later on in the show. It's one of those deals where like it was very well done.
This deal did age cool too, right? Like legitimately.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The Alexa, like this will always be lost in history. But bro, that him picking those wrestlers could have been such a hilarious thing in hindsight, and he picked pretty good, man. I mean, from the 2014 class, he got like 3 of the top 5. He did pretty good. So yeah, that's a cool thing in history. Great show, absolutely great show, and I agree with this completely.
Classic show. We're almost 10 years removed. It's safe to call it a classic now. I think.
Great pace, and I agree with that completely. Okay, let's move to the 2 seed for the 2010s. We go 1 year forward. 2015 WrestleMania 31, the 6th WrestleMania of all time according to Cage Match, 6th best WrestleMania of all time according to Cage Match. The iconic RKO finish. I think Orton and Seth have a really good one.
That's one of Michael Cole's best calls ever. I love Michael Cole's call of that. Whenever they play the clip, he has such a great call of that.
Contrarian Alex, best WrestleMania main event ever is this show too. Brock and Roman. A good ladder match, and Sting, for better or worse, Sting's sole WrestleMania performance is here.
Ridiculous.
I don't love this one, to be totally honest. But I get why it's up there. 6th does feel a little high for me, I gotta be honest. 6th very high, I think. I don't know.
It's too high. It has an absolutely beautiful look. I think
yes.
The San Francisco, I think the Bay Area, I know it wasn't San Francisco, but it was the Bay Area look, and like the setting was just awesome. I think it's I think it's the top 5 setting in the history of Mania.
These two Manias are really
Um,
interesting in terms of their length. These like couple years, they're like much shorter, and then after that they go
Right.
from like 7 matches to like 18.
I even think Taker Bray's passable as a match.
Yeah, it's fun.
Like it's the in-ring is great on this show.
Yeah.
What hurts this show is the ending, which was a critical mistake. I will say this: I understand why they did it.
Yeah, it was a cool
I understand why they do the ending closer to the Mania cash in. I can't defend it. I'm sorry. It was terrible in hindsight. It was a massive mistake. I think it set Roman back 5 years. It was, and I think it was the last time that Seth Rollins was even like approaching like. That's not totally true. But like it was the last time that it felt like he had a big bright future,
Yeah.
And then he proved that he wasn't worth it.
I think Sting's a much bigger issue.
Oh, the Sting Triple H match was totally ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
the
my
NWO
issue.
helping him. Oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
That's like my brother Dylan's least favorite match of all time. He hates it. So I don't hate it as much as he does, but like it's so stupid.
Yeah, that's much bigger
I
issue.
still think it's a great Mania. I love the way it looks. Rusev coming out in the tank is like arguably a top 5 tops right there.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's a magnificent show, even though it has definitely a couple of big major flaws.
Bobby, thoughts on WrestleMania 31?
Yeah, I like it quite a bit. The ladder match is very good. It's probably my favorite Seth Rollins match to date. Just really love that match. The main event.
Wait, what match?
Seth against Randy, not the.
Yes, yeah. I'm sorry, go on.
Yeah. Yeah, the main event's bad. They should have just went with Roman, and they would have a chance to right that wrong a couple years later and screw up again. I enjoyed it for what it was. Like even the Sting and Triple H match, obviously it's not good and it doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's kind of fun to see everyone come in, I guess. And they had a really fun segment with The Rock and Ronda Rousey back when she was, a big deal. Yeah, I enjoy this show quite a bit. I think it probably would be number 2 of the decade for me. Well, actually, maybe number 3. I think 33 is better than this one.
Really? Interesting. Okay, well, that one is not... Okay. In third on the cage match is WrestleMania 28. We have 2012's WrestleMania here, WrestleMania 28. This is sizable drop-off from the last one on cage match. This is actually like 10 spots lower all time. But this one, of course, has the aforementioned Hell in a Cell match, the end of an era with The Undertaker and Triple H. It has Cena and Rock 1, which I like a lot. It has Punk and Jericho 2, which I like a lot. I quite like this show personally, but the Oracle of Wrestling, you are not a big fan of the end of an era.
I don't love this show in particular. I think it's overrated. But the end of an era match fucking sucks, man. Like Shawn Michaels is dreadful in it. Oh, he's so bad.
Yeah, he's a lot.
I hate when he's like doing that shit. I'm so embarrassing, dude. Turn this shit off. Like it's so bad. I hated it. And like the whole build of the match is like the Attitude Era was the best and it's the end of the era. It's over now. Everybody else sucks. And it's like, ugh, I hate it. I think their match the year before is like definitely better. I was in the building live for it. People have their fair criticisms on that one too, but I hate this match. Brian Sheamus was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Rock Cena, I enjoy it. At the time, on first watch, I didn't love it. Rewatch, I liked it better. Punk Jericho's good, but I think their street fight the next month's better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like coming into this show, the match I was most excited for was Team Johnny versus Team Teddy. Fucking live. That tells me right there.
Was that when Zack Ryder got kicked in the dick? Is that
Yeah,
Yeah.
by Eve. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Tremendous.
fucking hate end of an era, man. Like, I get what people are like, I bid on that super kick pedigree. Here's the thing. I get it. I can understand why, but to me, I didn't buy it on it at all. I was like, oh, he's kicking out of that. The only time I ever thought, do you know why? Do you know why I thought he was going to win easily in this one? Because he had already beaten Triple H the year before. And I was like, oh, he's going to beat him again this year. Like, now the year before when I was there live, I was like, and that tombstone, I was like, oh no. I was like, granted, when you're in the building live, it's a different experience, right? I was like, oh, he's going to win. He's going to beat him with a fucking tombstone.
Beast.
The next year, I was like, no, he's going to win.
Yeah. Bob, you decided you're an Undertaker fan 5 minutes ago.
And the thing is, I actually picked Brock to beat Taker at 30.
My God, you should have put money on it.
Beat him. I thought he was going to do it.
You'd have made a lot of money if you'd have made a wager.
I wasn't like 100%. I was like 90%. I was like, I think Brock's going to win. It felt that way in the build to me. But
Bob, as the latest Undertaker fan, what do you make of WrestleMania 28 and End of an Era specifically?
I don't know that I've watched the show back since it aired. I remember liking the End of an Era match quite a bit. I don't know that I would like it too much if I watched it tomorrow, just because things are different for me as a fan now. I think Punk and Jericho is very good. Looking forward to them running that back at All Out this year. And I think the first Rock Cena match was very good as well.
All right, again, I'm going to ask again, is this the time? I'm going to be at All Out this year, okay?
I am too.
It is 4 a.m. in Great Britain. Okay, and I am too. How far away are you from that event, Bob? This says at United Center. How far away are you?
From St. Louis, it's about 4 hours from where my parents live. It's about 25 minutes.
Okay. So think about that, okay? And you're going to see Chris Jericho at CM Punk. I am going to fly around 9 hours, all right? It's not the time. It's 4 a.m. All right. Anyway, anything else on WrestleMania 28?
No.
Good show, I thought. Was this also the first of like the 12 Flow Rider shows where he would perform on every one of them and just have like a hilarious performance? An interesting era. Okay. We now move to the bottom 3 of the 2010s, which could bring up some scars. I'm thankful to say that mine are going to be left untouched for the most part. WrestleMania 27 comes in here.
Oh, buddy. I was there cooking live.
Which is rated the 6th worst WrestleMania ever, the worst of the decade, though. The Taker Undertaker match is remembered fondly. I think Randy and Punk is a pretty good match. I like that match. Very good. Yeah, I like that match.
Finish is awesome when Punk goes soaring for the springboard and gets into the RKO.
However, other than that, the Oracle of Wrestling, some would say there wasn't much. You were there. You tell me. What do you think?
I think Edge Del Rio and Ray Cody are both very good.
Okay.
Not great, but both very good. Edge Del Rio is quite good, actually. Ray Cody was, very good. Their match the next month is a little bit better. Being there live in your first Mania, man, I don't know. I got biased toward it, but it probably is. It's certainly a bottom 10 Mania, probably even a bottom, might even be a bottom 5, honestly. Probably like the 4th or 5th worst, maybe, if I'm being honest.
Bad main event, too.
Yeah. But that Miz intro is incredible. The intro for both Miz and Cena is amazing.
And then the bell rang.
Yeah. Lawler and Cole would have been totally fine, because the first part where like Jack Swagger does his push-ups and Austin comes in, they do that great camera shot. Austin comes down in the ATV, and then Lawler pulls Cole into the coal mine, and Cole makes the funny face. That stuff's funny. Then Cole works over Lawler's ankle for 10 minutes. What? It's the worst. It's
awful.
I can't explain how stupid it was to do that. Being there live in the building was like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
It was just the middle portion of this show was a train wreck, and too many skits backstage with The Rock, even though some of them were kind of funny. The match was boring. The main event was boring. No heat, bad finish. It was there to literally. This was like a stopgap Mania to just set up the next year's Mania.
Yeah,
it's very weird.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah, it's bizarre.
They sacrificed this show for the next year. It's the only Mania I can ever think of where they did that.
Kind of disrespectful to the Oracle of Wrestling if we're shooting.
Yeah, it was. Pieces of shit. You know what? Vince was probably like, "Oh, we're down here in the fucking Georgia, WCW territory. I'll give him a fucking show."
Fuck him. Bob, Chris has kind of owned you here. You did not bring up Maria Menounos and Kelly versus Beth.
Oh yeah, where she gave Eva stink face and she looked like she shit her pants the whole match.
Wait, what?
Maria Menounos does a stink face, and unlike Eve Torres, and Eve's got like the typical WWE glamour bullshit makeup on that they, and then she has this lipstick, or she has this makeup stain on her ass crack, or on her ass, so it looks like she shit herself.
Bob, did you remember that, or is that an Oracle exclusive? Right,
I did not remember that.
What do you remember WrestleMania 27, mate?
It's the first one I watched live.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I got back into watching at the 2011 Royal Rumble, which is also bad. And then Dwayne comes back to host it, so I'm like, all right, I'll watch. And not a very good show. The ending was cool, I guess. It's like, oh, they're going to do Rock Cena at some point. Obviously, we had to wait a whole year for it. I did like Orton and Punk from what I remember.
It's really good, actually.
And I liked Undertaker Triple H, even though that was when they were doing the whole build like they've never wrestled each other before, which was strange.
Oh yeah, and then the video package don't even show the 17 man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I don't know why they didn't. Well, I know why they did it.
It's real graphs.
Yeah, but yeah, not a great show.
Yeah, apparently not sixth worst WrestleMania ever according to Cage Match. But I'll tell you what, how long was that show, Oracle?
It's 3 hours and 40 minutes, maybe, or something. I don't know.
I'd trade experiences with what I got in New Orleans. It isn't even the bottom three.
Oh,
I still wake up in the dead of night with that, mate.
I still wake up. I wanted to go to,
Okay, second worst of the decade, 3 spots up all time. WrestleMania 32 in 2016. The clear highlight being the women's title triple threat, which was a really big moment for the division, unquestionably, with Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky for the new belt. Hilarious finish for that. I'm not going to get into that here, but
it's over. It's still going. Me and this guy named Alex have been there for years.
It's over. Chris Jericho
out of the building. We're stuck in.
Chris Jericho beat AJ Styles, which was hilarious. The IC title ladder match was good. There's not a lot on this show to like. Mm-hmm. You, Oracle, you can speak to that again. I'll go to you first because you were there, but you don't have much luck with these, mate. I've got to be honest with you.
This show was unbelievably long.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the first offensively long Mania they do. And the length of this show is horrendous. I'll never forget sitting there. Here comes Dwayne out there with a fucking flamethrower. And I'm going, Jesus fucking Christ. Can we end this debacle?
It's also the first big Roman L in the main event too, where they fuck. He has 3 in a row, man. It's tough.
Yeah,
he's earned his reputation in a good way now at this point, thank God. But my God, I've always been a fan, but Jesus, the slums of the main event matches he had to deal with, and they just threw him out there to the wolves. You can take some of the blame. I can bear giving him some of the blame, but Jesus, out there with Hunter, good Lord, good luck, brother.
And this is when he was doing his arm bar bit. Remember that when he learned submissions?
Christ,
what a buffoon! Man, this match went half an hour. For
dude,
what?
Taker and Shane doing MMA exchanges.
That was funny, yeah.
In the Hell in a Cell match.
That's one of the longest wrestling matches ever. I don't care what the clock says. There are only a handful of 6-minute matches that are actually longer than Taker and Shane.
The is awesome.
Yes, it is.
Flair getting involved in the finish, Rick, was just so annoying, though.
Was this also the show with when League of Nations just beat
New Day? New Day at the end. Yeah. Was it Austin Foley and Sean?
Yeah.
Sean comes out in his gear.
Ugh. This show fucking sucks, right, Bob? This is bad.
Yeah.
This is not great. Totally Vince show, too.
I like the Hell in a Cell match. I don't think it's very good, but anytime someone goes off the top of it, it's a lot of fun for me. But other than that, in the women's match, there's not much here. And it did take a long time, and that kind of started a very dangerous precedent of these being 5.5 hour shows.
Yeah, tell me about it.
That's why we have to
Which
say
we've
thank
all
God for 2
experienced.
nights, to be honest, more than anything.
Yeah, that's why I'm for it, bro. Honestly, I'm complete for it. One spot up from that in the all-time rankings and third worst of the decade is WrestleMania 29. You moved to 2013, which was, of course,
This show sucks.
once in a lifetime, twice. I love Undertaker and Punk. I think that's a fabulous match.
Punk's performance is all-time great.
One of his best ever.
That might be his best. That's like arguably his career performance.
I would agree. I
Dude,
think
in the pre-match when after Punk comes out, because he comes out the Cult of Personality. Remember they're playing it. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and he's like, oh. I was losing my mind.
Tremendous. That was tremendous. Yes.
Oh no.
Yes, I do. I follow Eric. I'm with you. We heard you.
Am I back? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, we made it out. It was all good.
Good.
That performance only aged better, well too, because Taker's performances really fall off after that, and you kind of look back at it more impressive than ever. Other than that, Bob, WrestleMania 29. Anything you like on there, mate? Anything to talk about?
No, not really. It's mostly Taker Punk. I was excited for Cena and Rock, and it was very clear early on that it wasn't going to be very good. And then, Triple H and Brock was very bad. I don't.
Didn't Dwayne tear his pec like 3 minutes into the match?
He did.
Yeah. I forget what.
Yeah, and before Brock broke the streak, they really didn't know what to do with him, which is interesting when you factor in it was like 2 years. But yeah, this is a really bad example of that.
I also think it's like partly because they wanted to see if he was about business, brother. That whole shit. But whatever. Okay, I guess we have to do this. He's right. Fucking. Okay. We'll do this quickly and succinctly. It didn't come up in the top 3 or bottom 3. It should have. WrestleMania 34 changed my life. I'll never watch wrestling with the same enthusiasm.
Is Bobby frozen?
Huh? Yes, he is. It's very funny freeze. WrestleMania 34 changed my life. It's one of the most miserable experiences I can possibly recall. It went on for what I believe to be 12 hours. Afterwards, I wanted to buy a hot dog and it was raining and the queue was too long, so I didn't even get a hot dog. I will tell this story for the last time now because this is going in the Chronicles. The history of the late night Grim. I went on Twitter. I had 1% battery. Nia Jax had just won the world's title. There was a lady in front of me who said, and I quote, "She did it. She finally did it." And I said, you know what? Maybe Graps is still alive. I went on Twitter. I saw the Voices of Wrestling had done a tweet, and they said, you know what? Now we're to the good stuff. We've got AJ and Shinsuke. We've got a Braun Strowman mystery partner that could be Samoa Joe or Bobby Lashley. And we've got the main event, Brock and Roman. Seems like this is going to be an all-time great WrestleMania.
Oh, no.
And my phone went out of battery and I put it in my pocket and I said, fucking right, this has turned out okay, innit? Because, honestly, I'll live. The Alexa Nia match is not a disaster by any means. The one they have next month is a disaster. The WrestleMania match is fine. So, the take basically was everything's been solid or good. The Ronda match was great. The triple threat for the IC title was good.
Charlotte Oscar was great.
Charlotte was horrendous. So it was a good show, and then it got to this part of the show, and then something happened during AJ and Shinsuke. Something beach balls appeared, and people started and it was very bizarre. And I don't remember any of that match, and I'm never going to rewatch it because who could possibly care? And then fucking Nicholas was Braun Strowman's tag team partner.
Yeah.
When all of the talk was the 3 names were Joe, Bobby, and Alexa, because that was after the Mixed Match Challenge. Remember that was one of the rumors was that Alexa would be in that. She would lose to Nia and Braun within. It was fucking Nicholas. It was John Cohen's son. Yeah. And anyway, after that, Brock and Bob and Roman had that fucking match that went on for years for some reason, and there was I'm sure it was like good on some level, but fuck, it was miserable live. Everyone was like not interested, and it was just depressing. And it was raining, and I'd been in there for 10 fucking hours, and it was like 9 hours removed from when I saw Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, which was not,
Roman's dad, like, which one's his dad? I always forget. Off our seat, whatever, like yelling, like,
yeah. Oh mate, it was so miserable. It's definitely not one of the bottom 3 shows, to be clear, folks. I'm messing around, but it just was so like, it's just miserable. It's the only word I can use for it. The atmosphere coming out of it, everyone was so like just out on it, No one seemed happy. Like, it was just horrible stuff. And I'm not the only person either that like has like Alex. He describes the event very similarly to what I just did. It was a shame. Other matches from the 2010s, boys. Other matches that come to mind. We have to mention Shawn and Taker too, right? The rematch. We have the 2010. We have to mention
Kofi and Bryan, obviously.
Oh my god, yeah, incredible
26
match.
is a really good Mania. Actually,
yeah. What else is on 26? Edge and Jericho.
Batista Cena is really good.
Oh yeah,
that match is excellent.
Edge and Jericho, right?
Yep, that match is really good too.
I like that match.
The finish sucks, but the match is really good.
From my one, just to reiterate, Charlotte and Asuka, Ronda debut. AJ and Shane does need to be mentioned.
Yeah, that's very good.
I was there live. 33 is awesome. It's just dreadfully long. It's so long.
Yeah, there's a lot of good on that show.
The last 80 minutes of that show is fucking awful.
Yeah.
I liked Taker Roman at the time because I thought legitimately it was Taker's last match.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't, and now it just sucks.
Brock and Bill, as you said, the Hardy's return needs to be mentioned.
Oh, that was the most electric thing I've being there for AJ's debut at the Rumble the year before, and then the Hardy's return at 33 was like two of the most awesome live experiences I've ever had.
We do have to mention, even though the match was the women's triple threat, the main event.
The entrances are amazing on that match.
Yeah, cool moment.
So tired because it's the longest show in the history of the company.
It was very
that match is the advertisement, the ongoing advertisement for why 2 nights is better.
Yep.
Absolutely.
The main event being like an albatross was horseshit. That was horrible. I hated that time.
It's just a finish sucked regardless, but you could tell they were trying to get work like that physical. They really were trying, and it's just oh, what a dreadful. It was just boring. It was just When you watch it in a vacuum, it's like even when you watch it in a vacuum, it's decent. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the crowd was kind of spent after Kofi and Bryan, obviously, but when it was 11:45 and Triple H's entrance start,
bro, that Triple H Batista match went on.
Literally the longest. It's literally, if you include the pre-show, it's an 8-hour event. It's the longest show in the history of the.
It was a lot, man.
History of the company. It's the
Triple H and Batista went on for years. Years.
I can remember the spot where Triple H gets the pliers and gets the 12.
And when Dave fell down when he's getting in the ring, do you remember that?
Yeah.
He just laughed it off because he rules.
Oh, I love him. I just wish he didn't become obsessed with wrestling Triple H. The last match, it was so strange for me, but I didn't even think the match was terrible. It's just so long, But, Baron Corbin retired Kurt Angle. Yeah, weird show.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Okay, so that is the 2010. Any other matches? I think we covered them all, right? In the 2010s.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
Shane McMahon beating the shit out of Mrs. Daz is funny. Is funny as hell. But that's obviously that match is not anywhere near
bad
discussion. But
don't get me started, bro. Don't get me started. I swear. One day I'm gonna get Alex and we're gonna do a show about 2019 Shane. And I'm just gonna kick the shit out of him. I think two other things that scarred me. That one. Yeah. So anyway, I think it's fair to say that decade was very much one that captured the disillusioned kind of fan base and how sort of schizophrenic a book Vince had become. It was all over the place. This was good actually. The men's 4-way at 35. That was the Usos' first win at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
I remember that being the story was the Usos had never had a WrestleMania moment. They talked about that. I remember at the time.
And then there was also a 4-way tag match, and then Bayley Sasha and Bailey went into their outside of their hotel room hallway and talked to Trish Stratus for.
The Usos one is crazy because everyone thought they were like wrapping up, man. And then
It was a little after that. You're right.
Yeah.
Because it was when they won the belts back, people kind of assumed they would sign. But you're right. Yeah. Early 2019, people thought they were going to leave, which in hindsight was like insane. They were definitely just pushing their price up. But you're right. That was a thing at the time. No one believed their peak was still ahead of them. I'll say that, which clearly, as we see on Sundays or Saturdays, is going to be the case. Also worth noting, Bob, that your two favorite wrestlers of all time, Alexa Bliss and Hulk Hogan, opened that WrestleMania.
They did. We got that, and then Brock lost the title. First time I ever saw him in person.
Tell Murray. Oh, if I was there, if I was like advising, you get to WrestleMania, it's like, we got a big deal for you. It's gonna be Hulk Hogan.
My memory of that Mania weekend is the one thing that always sticks out to me is when Brett got attacked by a stupid ass fan.
Oh yeah, Cash punched him in the face.
And then tried to beat the shit out of him.
Real graps. All right. Match of the decade. My candidates are as follows: Roman and Brock, Shawn and Taker 2, Kofi Bryan. That's my big three. What do you, mate, Bob? Where do you lean immediately?
Just of those three.
No, for the decade.
Yeah, honestly, immediately I go to Brock and Bill, because I think just as far as a WrestleMania match goes, pure spectacle. It's the answer to that question that everyone likes to ask. What would you show someone who's not a wrestling fan to try and get them into wrestling? The crowd's crazy for it, and it's the perfect length. So that's where I go. I think I'm going to get outvoted on it. That's fine, but immediately that's where I go to.
Oracle, where do you go, mate? What's your instinctual reaction?
I definitely think Bob is right in that match has to be in the discussion.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's weird. I think about it. I have to revisit it again, but every time I watch it, I like it even more. That Punk Taker match is incredible.
It is.
Because Punk is so good.
Yeah.
And I just want to bring up, I don't think he might not win, but for the first half of the decade, I think he's missed WrestleMania. I think the race sprint's really good. I think the Randy Orton match is the best.
It's it's a shame he's not got more of them, right? It's a shame. Yeah. I'm with you completely. He's great in those few years, but it's a shame.
Let me think about this.
I think this might be the answer, bro. There's some love for it.
Yeah, it's a great match.
It's such a special match too, right? Like
it probably even is. It's one of those matches where it's probably a classic, but it's a hidden one that people don't think about enough.
They think about the finish, not the match.
Partly because Kofi's reign was so underwhelming, and he had a mid-card title reign, and they booked him well. He always looked strong up until the Brock debacle, but they just didn't give him. They didn't give him opponents that were strong enough.
The Dolph thing killed him, right? I mean, it is what it is.
Went on for 2 months. I know it was ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, that very well might be the answer.
I think that's my pick. I'm gonna go Kofi and Bryan.
I think you're right. Honestly, Brock and Roman might be my answer, the first one. But I think the finish with Rollins cashing in hurts it too much for me. And although I think as a match itself before Rollins comes in, I think it's better. But Bryan and Kofi is probably the answer.
I think that's the perfect one, in terms of, because the finish is so great too. This is really hard. Who is Mr. WrestleMania? Immediately you have to put Bryan forward, but he misses a few. Actually, I'm looking at this. I think it's Bryan, man. Bryan has 2 great matches on WrestleMania 30. He's in the ladder match at 31.
His return match is very good.
Well, yeah, that was there.
It was at the time.
I'll be honest with you, bro. I don't remember anything from that match. That was, it was like 17. I was,
That's true.
I honestly think it's Bryan. But Brock comes up. Brock has Goldberg match. He has the first Roman match. Other than that, though, what does he have?
Yeah.
Nothing.
No. It's Bryan, I think. Oracle,
honestly, I think Punk is a close second, maybe behind Bryan.
The years he's on, Punk's great. It's just he misses so much. Bryan misses some years too. Bobby, what do you reckon?
I think it's Bryan.
Okay, we're going with Dragon, folks.
Yeah.
The American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, is going to take Mr. WrestleMania for the 2010s. Okay, let's wrap this up as we always do. What is the before we get to the decades themselves? What is the best WrestleMania ever in your opinion, Bobby?
19.
I'm 19 too. Oracle, what are you saying?
$17.
My God. Okay, Bobby and I, 19 will be the closing answer here. What is the greatest WrestleMania match of all time? I'm planting my flag. You ain't beating Bret and Austin. That's my pick. Bob?
Yeah, I think I agree.
My God. Oracle?
Probably, yeah.
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 It's got everything. It's like the match is great, but it also changed wrestling, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Bret and Austin takes it. And now let's rank these decades. Okay, fellas, in fear of jumping the gun here, the 2000s clearly is the leading decade, right? I mean, we saw that here as
That's
it goes without saying. Comparing the 90s and the 2010s is really interesting.
I think 2010s is last. 90s at least has a charm. Like even the bad most.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, you might be right, bro. Those shows are such slogs. Can you imagine someone saying to you, "This, let's rewatch like WrestleMania 33"? You'd be like, "Fuck, man!" Even though it's good, who wants to rewatch that? You know?
Because like
there's a difference between going 2 hours and 45 minutes and 5 hours and 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you were gonna go watch WrestleMania 11, it's definitely less than 3 hours, even if it's bad.
I love that that's our deciding factor. It's amazing, man. On Cage Match, 6 of the top 10 manias were in the 2000s. What a decade that was for WrestleMania.
Yeah,
I didn't realize before. I didn't think about it that way. Okay, 2000s, 1990s, and 2010s. That's where we're at. Yep, locked in. All right, folks. There it is. Very late hour, but we've concluded deciding the decade. WrestleMania. We appreciate everyone who jumped back on. We hope everyone who sees this on delay after being with us for the first one. Hope you enjoyed it. It's been a wonderful, wonderful time. Bobby, do you have any final words? Do you have any plugs, any promotions?
No, this was a lot of fun. I'll be back for Grin game night tomorrow night, unless I get booked on Dynamite. But I should be here.
As a local?
Yeah.
Could happen. The Oracle of Wrestling. Do you have any final words?
I'm gonna try to, I'll do my best to stick it out Mania week, beyond. Hopefully the technical difficulties aren't quite as frustrating as they were tonight. I apologize for that, folks. Thank you for being patient and for most everybody coming back with us to finish up and wrap up this show. I will be do my best to be on game night tomorrow, 10 p.m. Right?
Yep. A little bit after, I think, because Young Dukes is not going to be back for like 15 minutes or so. So a little bit after.
Prayers for Joe's sleep schedule during Mania week.
No reason to pray. Don't waste those prayers. So it's cooked. Just full disclosure. Next week, maybe more quiet.
Friday and Saturday. Even though I'm slammed. There's like 7 shows at the same time on Friday that I want to see, and I'm gonna watch Supercard live and join you fellas and everybody on Friday night. But I want to see the Hall of Fame. Legitimately. For the first time in like years. I've watched all the Hall of Fames, but like I actually want to see this one. SmackDown, so like it's a loaded one, But I'll be here and do my best.
Absolutely. So we can ask the Oracle of Wrestling. So we can ask. Boys have covered it. Tomorrow, Grin game night. Thursday, I have an announcement. Matty and I are watching the Multiverse United event from Impact Wrestling. I believe that starts at like 10 Eastern.
Where can you purchase this event?
On Fight TV for way too much money, the Oracle of Wrestling. But yeah,
how much?
Like $30. Oracle.
How much is Supercard? 50?
I think it's 40.
40? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting that. That card looks good. So.
That's real graps. The Impact show will be good, but like, there's only so much money.
You're telling me
well, I just don't know if you. I mean, I'm excited that Leo Rush has been added to the card, but I'm not sure you need to be paying $25 for that. That's all I'm saying. Or $30.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, we are doing a Grin along, Matty and I. Some others might be there. I don't know yet. It was literally something we decided about an hour ago. So please do, if you're watching the show, join us for that. I think we'll have a fun time the way we did for the New Japan show last month. So that's Thursday, Friday, Late Night Grin goes old school. We're back after Rampage once again. We use some retro graphics and gimmicks and such. Much going to be happening there because we're going to be very fucking tired that night too. That's going to be at 11:05 Eastern. It's back in the olden days. And then the weekend, we're going to be reviewing those WrestleMania shows as soon as they end here on this free channel. So we appreciate you folks. Keep grinning. All hail. And please enjoy this outro. See you tomorrow, folks.